Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the...
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen. Welcome back to Autism Live and to Ask Dr. Doreen. I'm just looking at some of the comments that you guys have written in, and thank you, Beverly. She says, I'm waiting to listen to you and your comments. And Paula, who said, and relax, Autism Live is on. We love that. I love that that's the way that, awesome. That you see this time. Okay, so I wanted to move on to another question that came in. Hi, Shannon and Dr. Doreen. We're huge fans of your show. Excuse me. I asked a few weeks ago about my ASD high-functioning daughter and her aggression. We recently transitioned into preschool, and she is having trouble learning the school culture and social rules. How do I teach that at home? That's awesome. Also, she never used to cry when I left. The past 2 weeks, she screams when I leave, and previous to this, she was potty trained and now isn't. On days she has been to school, when I pick her up, she comes apart at the seams after school. She behaves perfectly, at school. And then when we get home, tears my house apart. The other days of the week, we don't have this. Is she holding it together at school and then loses it at home? How do I help transition her back home without destroying my home? And thanks for all that you do.
Oh my gosh, this is so much stuff. Hang in there. There's a lot of stuff in this one paragraph. We're going to break it down and talk about each one, okay? And there's a lot going on. So, she is having trouble. One portion that confuses me a little bit is because it says she's having trouble learning the school culture and school social rules, but then at the end it says she's behaving perfectly at school.
Yeah.
So let's assume, I'm gonna go with my gut feeling on this and assume that what's happening is called behavioral contrast, and we can talk about that a little bit. It concerns me that she was potty trained and now she's lost it. I think what you're saying is that she's lost it at home. If you're viewing, please let us know these details. And you say she behaves perfectly at school and when she gets home she's tearing up the house, right? So what I would do, my first instinct as a parent myself, is that I would definitely recommend you have someone, not you, someone else, and preferably someone who has a little bit of ABA training. It could be a behavior therapist, does not have to be a BCBA. Just do an observation. It's got to be someone she doesn't know. Even if it's not someone trained, I would still recommend you have someone go in and do an observation, someone that your daughter does not know. The reason I ask is it's important to see and write down all the differences in the two environments. Definitely what is happening is this thing called behavior contrast. Behavioral contrast is when two environments are so different in their contingencies that the child actually acts out more in the environment that's easier, the environment that is more loosely structured. And the way that that works is, and that's, I think, what's happening here, because essentially she has come into an environment at school where certain things are tolerated and other things are not tolerated, and that those contingencies, those consequences, are not the same as what's happening at home. So you need to establish a high level of reliability between how you consequate things and how they consequate things at school. The only way you're going to do that is if you really learn what is going on in school. Now, my assumption is something good is going on in school. There could always be something bad going on at school too, which even makes it more important for you to have someone observe, right?
Yeah.
What I don't like about schools is that, you always have to notify when you're going in for an observation. What can you do? But nevertheless, have someone observe the full day at school, maybe even a couple of days. Take a lot of notes about how things are consequated. Now, by that, this is what I mean. How are instructions given and what kind of reinforcers are given or taken? Now that's really important because all of behavior depends on that. So for example, what do they do if your daughter like has a meltdown? How do they deal with that? How much prompting are they giving her? How much help are they giving her? How much reward do they give her when she does something good? Is there a token system running where she's motivated to do something good to gain something else? Learn all of those things. If there's a good system in place, you need to implement all of that at home. What I'm thinking is before school, she possibly had a lot of, see, as parents, Shannon, we don't realize that we tend to kind of read our kids. We know what they want, right?
Yeah.
And we will give it to them before they even ask for it.
Yeah.
And if they start to complain even a little bit, we will immediately like take care of them, take care of their needs. Perhaps you knew before, like, and just sent her to the bathroom. I don't know. Like, I don't know the child's age. I don't know exactly all the details, but whatever it is, I can tell you for sure that this is happening due to a difference in how you handle her and how the school handles her. I don't know which one is, in this case, the right way to handle her because I don't have enough information about either one. But if her behavior is perfect at school, well, I guess that's what you want at home, right? So you should look and see what's going on at school and how they are, what are the contingencies, how are they consequating her behavior?
Yeah. I guess what I kind of read into it is that because mom feels, it feels like to me mom is saying that because she doesn't know the school culture and the social rules, that maybe school is stressing her out and then she falls apart when she comes home. That the behavior is perfect. It's not like she's throwing things. She says she's trashing the house when she comes home. She's not throwing things at school. But I wonder if part of it also needs to be that we need to be working on that social culture before she goes to school.
So I mean, but she's behaving perfectly at school. So I don't know what we need to work on. Maybe you can give us some clarification on that. But what I do want to assure you is that if a child has a really tough time, they will not hold it together and act out several hours later.
Okay.
They will act out right then and there.
Okay.
Okay, so children
That's
are...
good to know.
Yeah, that's really important, especially children on the spectrum, because the only reason we hold things together and act out later, think about this, why do we hold things together in certain environments?
Because of how other people will think and perceive us. Yeah.
Exactly, because we don't want them
Right. That's
to
a lot of
think
perspective
poorly.
taking.
It's a huge amount of perspective taking. Kids in general don't have that level of, which is why you see kids, typically developing kids, tantrum in movie theaters and restaurants, on the whatever, right?
Right.
They don't have that level of embarrassment that we have as adults, or that level of self-regulation. Kids on the spectrum, have even less.
Yeah.
So it's very, very unlikely that she's holding it together and then lashing out several hours later. The likelihood is acting out is getting her a certain amount of attention or reward that is excessive. So in other words, she's figured out that by doing this kind of thing, you're probably going in, soothing her. I don't know. Ask yourself, when she tears the house apart, what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you take it easier on
That
her?
is interesting.
Do you give her more reward? What do you do? What is the consequence that occurs when she does that? And if she was to tear things apart at school, what would be the consequence? Focus on the consequences of the behaviors. That'll tell you a lot.
Okay.